So here's a question for you to ponder. Does a really good speech that you've prepared for one situation work in a different situation? Well, if it's a really good speech, of course not. Why, you ask? Because if you have a different audience, you have to make changes to make your speech really good. What we'll do in today's lecture is discuss some of the big issues in audience analysis for each of your three major speech types. We'll also mention some other issues so you can decide the elements of your particular audience that you need to consider as you prepare your remarks. These include physical issues, audience knowledge, demographics, and psychographics. We'll discuss each of these briefly in turn. The obvious physical issues include a whole bunch of items. First, it might include the size of your audience. Size might matter because in a very large audience, some people might not be able to hear the speaker. Obviously, that could be an issue. So you might need a microphone. In a formal speech, you might need a teleprompter to help the speaker keep eye contact. If you're outside and it's hot, that might affect your audience. Or if you're inside and the AC isn't working, that would affect your audience. I could go on, but you get the point. Physical issues that might affect your audience reactions. These issues cut across all types of speeches and are not particularly unique to any one type. Next is audience knowledge. In your speech to inform, does it matter if your audience is knowledgeable of your subject? Kind of an obvious question, I guess. With a totally naive audience, you might be able to skate by with Google-level knowledge. A more robust audience might require you to consult Wikipedia. But an audience with a deep understanding of your subject matter requires you to know even more. As a quarterback might say to a receiver, go deep. Nothing could possibly bore an audience more than a speech to inform to tell them what they already know. In a speech to persuade or entertain, on the other hand, extending audience knowledge is less important than other factors. To address some of those other factors, we'll explore both demographics and psychographics. Demographics refer to relatively obvious characteristics of an audience, things like age, sex, race. Of course, you can't draw too many conclusions about these characteristics, as there are wide variations among groups. But being aware of an audience's demographics, compositions, may impact language, examples, and stories used to demonstrate certain points in all three forms of speeches. Psychographics refers to human psychological characteristics that we can't see. Human beings are the products of all their experiences from birth, family, schooling, relationships, employment, religion, political affiliations, among other things. Consequently, though there are many similarities, there are many differences in the way we process information. Psychographics probably have the least impact on the informative speech, the most on the persuasive speech, with the entertainment speech being kind of a tweener. That means in between for those of you that aren't from Texas. Psychographics is a marketing term that was popularized in the 1960s, but it's a handy way to group a number of psychological concepts that influence how humans process information and make decisions. Demographics describe the who, and psychographics describe the why. These include the following: opinions, attitudes, values, and behaviors. Since you can't see psychographics, The next best thing for determining potential audience reaction to your speech that might impact your preparation is to examine group membership. Does the group have membership requirements? Are the members political or religious or otherwise have strong opinions? Which way do they lean? These may not be important considerations for the persuasive speeches. These are important for the persuasive speech especially. Now I'm going to quickly explain the interactions of demographics and psychographics as they impact your speech preparation. Wait, no, not really. I'm going to take a little different approach here. Instead of giving advice or explaining, I'm just going to ask questions. In part because it may be just too complicated to explain all the possible interactions in a short space. But consider the following. Would you use the same language, examples, and stories in a speech to teenagers as you would to a group of retirees? Would you use the same language, examples, and stories in a speech to a social club as you would to a chamber of commerce? Would you use the same language, examples, and stories in a speech to dog owners as you would cat lovers? To summarize, we've been discussing audience analysis. It's important to consider your audience as you begin to prepare your remarks for any of the three major types of speeches that you will present in this class. These include the physical aspects of the speech setting, the audience knowledge of the subject matter, demographics, and psychographics. Thank you.